37 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. My name is Ali and I live in Kent in the UK with my husband and our two young daughters who are 12 and almost 8. This is my podcast to talk about all things crochet and knitting and yarn related, all of the good stuff. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, and there's also a group for the podcast on Ravelry called Little Drops of Wonderful. What else? Oh, timestamps for everything that I talk about are underneath this video in the description box, along with the information about everything I talk about. I don't link to everything, but I figure if you've got the names, you can Google it. What we're going to talk about today, I am going to talk at you. That's the theme of all of my episodes, is I just blather at you. So I'm going to be talking about finished objects, of which I have one knitted object and a couple of dodgy bags. Some works in progress, a blast from the past, which I've been doing recently, shamelessly copying Ellie of the Craft House Magic podcast, and the blast from the past this time is going to have a bit of a crochet sock flavour. Interesting. And then I'm going to update you on some make-along news. There's Strictly Sock Along. That's going really well. It's been so much fun seeing everyone's socks and excitement and rule breaking, which is my favourite bit. So we'll talk about that a bit later. And I'm also going to talk about a new make-along that starts in November. So stay tuned for that. Then we're going to talk about, then I'm going to do a sharing the love section right at the end, which is where I just give a bit of a shout out to a podcaster or an Instagrammer or a maker of some kind who I think deserves a bit of a shout out. Anyway, what else? So it's been so I was planning on trying to podcast every 2 weeks. So I should have podcast last Thursday, and today is Monday. It is Monday the 8th of October. And I should have podcast last Thursday, so I'm a few days later than I wanted to. And that's because I ended up having to work. So normally I just work Wednesdays and Fridays, but we've got some stuff going on at work at the moment and I had to go in for an extra day. But the advantage of that is I get an extra day off this week, so I'm only working on Friday this week, which is handy because currently, although you can't see it because it all looks very orderly behind me, my house is in total disarray, because we are having our youngest daughter's bedroom plastered tomorrow. So that'll take a couple of days, and meant we had to move all of her furniture out and strip the walls of all the wallpaper and get it all ready. And she had her last night in there last night, so later today and this evening we'll have to remove absolutely everything, cover everything that we can't get out, physically can't get out the room, with dust sheets, and take the light fittings down and the curtains down. And then the plasterers will arrive very early tomorrow morning and get started. So it's going to be a difficult couple of days. So I'm looking forward to getting that done, painted, and all the furniture back in. I've got like little cupboards in the middle of the kitchen. There are 2 wardrobes in the middle of me and my husband's bedroom. We're just, everywhere we go, we're like around wardrobes and bits of furniture, and everyone's bumping into each other, and there is stuff everywhere, and it doesn't do I'm like fizzing with anxiety and stress. Anyway, I'm wearing a lot of concealer and I'm sitting a little bit further away from the camera than usual to try and hide it and disguise it. Anyway, so there's that been going on. Also, my husband has not been very well, so he was off of work all of last week. So for those of you that don't know, I used to have a condition called ulcerative colitis, which I had since I was in my late teens, and I had all throughout my 20s, and I was very, very ill with it. And then in 2012, I was so ill with it that I actually had an operation to completely remove my large intestine. So I no longer have that particular piece of machinery, and instead they reconfigured some of my internal plumbing. This is getting a little bit more involved than I meant it to, but anyway, my internal plumbing has been reconfigured so that my small intestine now basically does the job that my large intestine used to do. Anyway, the point is that my husband, after we'd been married for about 4 years, he also developed symptoms of ulcerative colitis. Complete coincidence. His is not quite as bad as mine was, but it's still bad if you're living with it. It's very debilitating. Anyway, he's had a bit of a flare up, which is irksome. I think we were just hoping we could ride out the rest of this year in a bit of a calm and sedate manner, but no, that's not to be. So he's not been very well, and you get associated arthritis with it because it's an inflammatory disease. It's very common to get associated arthritis with it. I had it when I was ill, and he got it, and it flared up really badly in one of his feet. It was the weirdest thing. And he actually thought he'd broken his foot, but he couldn't kind of work out how. So he had to go to hospital for an x-ray, and turns out no, he hasn't broken it, and it is just joint inflammation. So that is now being treated, and he's feeling a lot better, and he's gone back to work today. So fingers crossed that he remains on the road to recovery. That was such a sideline. Sorry, let's just get straight into it. I forgot last time that when I podcasted, it was almost exactly to the day my 2-year podiversary. Completely forgot. And also, in the days leading up to me filming, I hadn't realised that we'd actually gone over 4,000 subscribers. And we've literally just done the giveaway for 3,000 subscribers. So I don't know how that happened. Not a clue. It just like shot up over 4,000 and then stopped completely. It's like, what's going on? So welcome to the extra 1,000 of you that have joined in. I'm glad that you enjoy my endless tangents and ramblings about yarny things. Very glad to have you here, new and old. So I think a little giveaway is in order. Unfortunately, I have 2 lovely patterns to give away. In fact, I have 2 copies of 2 each. 2 copies each of... Oh. So why can't I say this? So let's just start from the beginning. Hannah, lovely Hannah from the Cosy Cottage Crochet podcast, who is a very good crochet designer. She's been designing a lot of lovely things lately, and 2 of the lovely things that she has released have been the Sanabel chevron shawl, which I shall put up here because I haven't got a printout of it with me, and also the Falling Ivy shawl, which I have got a printout of, but I'll also put a picture up. So this is the Falling Ivy shawl, and this is $4.80 on Ravelry, which is about £3.80. And it's 12 pages. It's really, really detailed. It's got a schematic, it's got photos to demonstrate the stitches, it's got row counts, notes on blocking. So it's a really, really packed and informative pattern, and it's priced really, really well. It's really good value is what I mean. So I've printed that one, but for some reason I thought I had printed the other one, but if I have, I'm gonna have to print it again because I can't find it. So lovely Hannah has given me 2 copies of the Falling Ivy shawl and 2 copies of the Sanabel chevron shawl to give away. So I'm going to give those away as my 2-year podiversary 4,000 subscribers giveaway, because that means that 4 people will have a chance to win a prize. So if you could hop on over to my Ravelry group, I will put a link to the thread below for this giveaway, and answer the question. I can't think of anything, so I will think of something. I don't know why I never prepare this beforehand, because I can never think of the questions. So hop on over there and there will be a prompt. It'll be a really easy thing, so don't worry. And then I'll draw the 4 winners before my next episode and let Hannah know and let you know. So yeah, if you could go along there. So thank you so much, Hannah, for donating those brilliant patterns. It's clear that a lot of work has gone into them, and I know she gets them all properly tech edited and everything like that. And if you haven't watched her podcast, hop on over to check her out. Actually, she's been doing some vlogs. She went on holiday with her husband to London, which is just up the road from here, and to Edinburgh, which is where my dad grew up, so that was really nice to see because we spent so many family holidays there, and to Dublin as well. And she's been doing vlogs about it, and they're really, really good. It was so nice to see the footage from her travels, so definitely worth going to check that out. Yeah, so that is the giveaway. So let's move straight on now. I've got to stop talking. I've got to well, I better not stop talking, otherwise this is going to be a really quiet and boring podcast. But I better stop. I better get into the yarny stuff now. So first of all, finished objects. I have finished my spellbound. No, I keep calling these my spellbound socks, but they're not. They're my Enchanted Socks. This is a pattern by Naomi of Cosy Cute Knits. I'll just prove to you that there are two finished. It's a pattern by Naomi of Cosy Cute Knits, and she also has another one called the Spellbound Socks, but these are the Enchanted Socks, and I get them mixed up because they both have magical names. So the yarn I use, the green mini and the speckled colour, which is called Hawthorn Blossom, are both by Little French Meadow. And I used this yarn to make my buttercup socks, which I talked about previously and are also on my Ravelry page. And I had enough left to make an entire other pair of socks, and they were living for the duration in my little handmade bag that I made myself. And after making 2 pairs of socks, I've got this left. Look, it's left. I admit I did make these ones a little bit shorter than I intended to. For some reason, I think as I was doing the I mean, I wear my socks quite short anyway, but these aren't for me. These are going to be a gift. But I was watching the Bakery Bears whilst I was whilst I was knitting the leg, and I think one of them, they were talking about knitting socks, and Dan said, "Oh, I always use this formula of so many rows for the rib, so many rows for the leg." And I thought, oh, well, I've done more than the number of rows that he said for the leg, so I must be ready to start the ribbing here, because I knit these toe up, forgetting that I wouldn't have the same gauge as somebody else, the same row gauge, and these are toe up, not cuff down, and they've got a German short row heel. No, what kind of heel? No, these ones, I think I did a fish lips kiss heel for these ones, and I'm a completely different knitter, and for some reason I thought, oh, I'll just start the rib. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, they're shorter than I intended, but I love them, and the pattern, I'm really making a mess of this. The Enchanted Socks pattern is actually written cuff down, but I did it toe up because I didn't want to run out of yarn, because I was using yarn from a previous project. I wasn't entirely confident that I wasn't going to run out. And I also I was going to do a little contrast green at the top here, but I didn't like how it would have looked doing toe up, joining in the green. It would have been a bit funny looking, so I just did it with the toe. So I absolutely love these. They fit really nicely, and apart from being a bit shorter than I intended, I think they're absolutely beautiful. Now they're going to be a gift. Well, as I was knitting them, I had in mind that they were going to be a gift. And and I should say, this is my sock notebook, and this is where I write details of all of my socks that I make so that I don't forget. So I can tell you that I use 2.25mm needles, and I haven't written down how many stitches I cast on, but I usually knit my socks on 56 stitches. And I had in mind that these were going to be a present for somebody, but the problem is the person I have in mind is a much better knitter than I am. So I don't know whether to give her a pair of socks that she could probably have done much better than me. So I'm going to have to ponder on that one for a bit. I mean, can you give a pair of hand knitted socks to someone who's a much better knitter than you are? There's a question. Anyway, so that's all my knitting and crochet finished objects at the moment. And I also have been doing some dodgy bag sewing. Now I should have been doing some more dodgy bag sewing, because I've got bags I want to make for swaps and bags I want to make for prizes and just as gifts and things. And I was going to have a whole day just sitting and sewing, and that was the day that I ended up having to take my husband to A&E to have his foot x-rayed. So I only managed to make 3 bags. One of them has not got its drawstring, so it's over there. One of them looks like this. This one is dodgy because I forgot to line it. Not line it, it's lined. Interface, I forgot to put interfacing in it, so it's a bit floppy. It is lined, it's lined with grey. And it's got this lovely lobster fabric, which I love and adore, and this is some old jeans. I thought this would be quite nice because you could put pins along there. But yeah, I completely forgot to put interfacing in it, so it's quite a soft floppy bag, but I still like it. And there's always got to be something dodgy on it, hasn't there? So, and then this is the other one I made. For people that might not have been watching for a long time, I have got a bit of a fabric stash for some reason that I don't really understand, because I don't really sew much, that I'm trying to use up. So I'm trying to use up as much of the old vintage fabric that I've got. So sometimes they look a bit of a mishmash. So I've got my pink zip, my green flowery vintage fabric, and this is old woolen suit fabric, and I've lined it with an organic cotton. I really like how this one came out actually. I'm really pleased with it. Kind of getting into a bit of a rhythm. I've been watching some videos on YouTube about how to sew zips, because up until now I've really just been winging it and assuming I know how to use the zipper foot on my machine, and it turns out I do know how to use it. I just wasn't quite, because I was not confident. I always assumed I wasn't doing it quite as neatly as I could have done. So I've been watching some really good videos and trying to just improve my knowledge and my technique. So I've got a couple of dodgy bags there as well. Okay, that's everything that's finished. And now I'm going to talk about works in progress. Okay, I'm not going to talk about all of my works in progress because there are many, but I am doing my best to plough through them because I am actually getting ridiculously very stressed about them. I've still got my a top that I'm trying to make for my eldest daughter, which really kind of, it's like having a sort of sink blockage or something like that. I felt like nothing else could be done until I'd worked out what to do about this top. But once I decided, you know what, just put it to one side and get on with other stuff and you'll start to feel better. Things have started to improve, and I've managed to start working through some more long-standing works in progress. One of them that's not a long-standing work in progress is my Beachfront socks. So you have seen them before. Let's put them on the blocker. Sorry if this is a bit of a repeat, but last time I hadn't started the second sock, so I just wanted to show you that I've started the second one. So this is the Beachfront Socks, which is a pattern by Lillia of Nordic Stitches, and the yarn I'm using, this gorgeous yarn, I don't think is actually available anymore, but it's called Samba, and it's by Lay Family Yarns. And these are shorty socks. So I'd finished the first one, and these were the first pair of socks I've ever made using DPNs, and I'm really enjoying it. Living in my little Cosy Cute Knits bag. And I just wanted to show you that I've been working quite a lot on these over the weekend. So I'm now here. Whoop. I'm up to here on the second pair. I have made a bit of an error in the pattern here, but I've decided that it's not really going to show. It's not worth frogging back and stressing myself out over it. So just wanted to show that the second sock is well and truly underway, and I'm really looking forward to having those done. It's been so nice because the weather's gone really autumnal now, and I've been wearing my hand knit socks, and it's sort of shown me how much I absolutely love wearing my hand knit socks. And I don't have a vast amount. I think I've knitted maybe 20 pairs since I started knitting socks over the last 2 years, or two to three. I think probably I started knitting socks in the January before I started podcasting, so about 2.5 years. But some of them I've given as gifts and so on and so on. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the ones that I've got, and I'm really enjoying wearing them, and it really motivates me to make more and also try to perfect the vanilla sock pattern that I will use for my husband. I've made him 3 pairs of socks and they all fit him, but I haven't managed to achieve the perfect fit yet. So for my next pair that I make him, I'm going to really try and work on that. Anyway, my next work in progress is living in this beautiful bag by Betsy Makes, which was a gift from Sam, who is Betsy Makes. And these are my Strictly socks, which I'm making with yarn from Sam. So this is the gorgeous, oh, I just love it so much. This is limoncello. It is super sparkly and beautiful yellow, dyed specifically for the Strictly sock along. It's absolutely gorgeous and I am loving knitting my socks with it. However, the pattern I'm making is also lovely and was also designed specifically for this year's Strictly Sock Along by Sandra 4 of Cherry Heart. This is a bit crumpled. This is what they look like. I'm sure you've seen pictures of these all over the place because there's quite a few people making these. They've got this lovely chevron pattern, the Cha chevron socks, which was actually named by my youngest daughter because we were talking about, oh, what should the sock pattern be called? We were coming up with all kinds of names, and my little Phoebe said, what about Cha chevron? And I said to Sandra, oh, this is what she suggested, and she was like, yeah, definitely, let's go for it. So thank you so much, Sandra, for naming the socks those, because that made Phoebe's day. She absolutely thought that was brilliant. I've got some sparkly stitch markers on the go. Now, I'm going to have to admit here that, so what are we on now? It started at the end of September. I think we've just done the 4th week of Strictly, and this is how much I've done on my Strictly socks. It's a good job it's running till the end of the year because I seem to be doing everything but knit my Strictly socks. Oh dear. Anyway, so this is how far I've got. I've done the first repeat and the 1x1 rib. And I'm loving it so far because look how gorgeous that yarn is and look how gorgeous the pattern is already. And I've got my lovely stitch marker from Lolly Ball on Instagram, which is not focusing. Is it focusing? There we go. And on the other side, I've got a glittery one, which is from Crafty Cat Knitty Bits on Etsy and Instagram. And then for my other stitch marker, I've got just a tiny little Strictly star. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this pattern, but I just seem to be really distracted. And I think I'm kind of, I think because I know I've got lots of time and also I intend to thoroughly cheat, obviously, you know, I'm going to just knit on them whenever because that's the whole point. Actually, I must say the cheating that I've seen, because the whole, I will talk about this later. But one of the main rules of the Strictly Sock Along is that rule bending is encouraged. So please, if you're thinking, oh, you know, I mustn't knit my socks now because Strictly's not on, don't worry, don't panic. You're supposed to be having fun. Just make something up. Literally, there are people who don't watch Strictly who are joining in. You just need to make up a really good excuse, like, oh, it's fine. I'm knitting it, you know, and I'm thinking of Strictly. So just enjoy it. I've actually just eaten my lunch at about 11:15 in the morning because I was starving. So I very quickly had some tortellini. Now I feel quite full up and I burnt my tongue. Okay, living in my little bag that was a gift from Susanne, inside number 22 on Instagram, well, so I talked last time about my finished Gryffindor Sockhead Cowl, which I made for my daughter. This hasn't been blocked yet and it's all crumpled from being shoved in the bag. I'm now making the Hufflepuff one for my youngest daughter because I want these ready for when we go to the Harry Potter studios in November so they can wear their house colours. So this is the Hufflepuff one. Right, so this will give me an opportunity to talk about something that I forgot to last time. This is the Sockhead Cowl. It's a brilliant pattern. I absolutely love it and it's perfect vanilla knitting. Perfect. You can just go, and the finished product is really good as well. I put this on last time, but because I'm wearing a very fluffy, sparkly jumper today, is it too early? Too early in the year for a sparkly jumper? No, I don't think so. It's Strictly season, so sparkles are allowed. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I knit this for my eldest. Absolutely love the pattern, absolutely love the yarn. This is Gryffindor by Norah George, and it was a gift from Carla, who is Socks Ahoy on Instagram. Hello, Carla. It's one of these yarns that's dyed half and half. So when you unravel the skein, half of it was red and half of it was yellow, or mustard and, well, golden. But I don't know, what's that? Golden. It's not burgundy, light burgundy. half and half the colours were, which would ordinarily, if you were making socks, produce a kind of micro striping, almost every row a different colour. So I wasn't sure what it was going to do when it came to putting it in a cowl, and as it happens, what it did was, it looks like it's just striped. What it's actually done is spiralled. So the red has spiralled around, and as I got nearer to the top, there was a bit where it actually got quite a bit wider than it was further down, which I guess is just because we're spiralling. That's the nature of it. And then on the rib at the top, you can see I got a couple of red rows on that side, but it's 3 red rows on the back. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of red on the bottom rib. So it's striped absolutely beautifully. The Hufflepuff yarn is exactly the same. It's half and half, with the sort of silvery blue and the bright yellow. But it's now started to kind of stripe a bit more like the red one here. But when it started, it just had really, really wide bit. Can you see? So it started off well with the striping in the rib section, and then it just got this really wide bit there and a wide yellow bit. But now it seems to be narrowing off again. I mean, this is not a problem. I was just fascinated with how the yarn, the colour behaved, you know, in a different project than what it was intended for, which is probably as a micro striping sock. Anyway, it's going to make an absolutely beautiful little Hufflepuff cowl, and when it's all around her neck like that, it's going to look all stripy and Hufflepuffly. And I'm knitting these in the round on a 40 centimetre round needle. You know what I mean. 3mm. 40 centimetres, 3mm. So those are the needles I'm using. I need to get some more of those because I've got a hat I want to make, and those are the only pair of sort of 40 centimetre needles I have. Oops, got to put the cowl back in. So that's my other work in progress. My problem is that I want to make everything at the moment. Oh, it's so stressful being a knitter and a crocheter, isn't it? Because you just see things, you're like, oh, I want to make that, I want to make that, I want to make that. It's very stressful. Lillia of Nordic Stitches has a new pattern out for, I can't remember what she called them. Are they called the Spooky Cell Boom? I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen, I'll put a picture up. And they're absolutely beautiful. They are Halloween mittens, and I really want to make them. But there's no way I'd even have time to select the yarn, let alone knit a pair of mittens by Halloween. So maybe that'll be my project for next Halloween. But yeah, they are absolutely brilliant. They've got a little spider on the thumb and everything. I really want to make those. My last work in progress is something I haven't talked about in a little while, and it's living in this old school Catechism bag. And it is my multiplication blanket. I posted about this on Instagram the other day. So years ago, and I mean years ago, every time I finished a project using just DK acrylic yarn, and actually sometimes other weights as well, if I had a tiny little bit left, I would make a little 2 round granny square. Oh, one colour to choose for that. Let's do a less glary one. So a little 2 round granny square. Very simple, just literally 2 round granny square. I bunched them all together because I was organising them the other day, and I have got a 4mm hook, which was a free gift from a magazine. And I started doing that with the intention of then bordering them with some white and sewing them all together to make a blanket, like so. This one's ends haven't been woven in. And then I was playing about a bit and I made my own little square pattern. But this was years ago, and when I say I made my own little square pattern, I don't know if I can ever say something like that because there's always something out there. But anyway, what I did was I did another round of white, but I spiked the middle stitches in the middle of the rows, not on the corners, down to the next row. And then I finished it off with 2 rows of single crochet around the edges. And the idea is I'm going to make all of these with their multicoloured centres and then sew them all together. It's been a really long-term project, and I've just been picking it up every now and then and doing it. So I've got quite a few, they're all bagged up, quite a few squares ready to go. And then because I'm trying to take part in the Knit Whip Cowl, which is to try and sort of clear your life of too many whips going into the next year. So you sort of start the year off on a bit more of a simple cannot talk today, what is wrong with me? But you start the year off with a bit more of a clear slate, is what I'm trying to say. So that's a Knit Whip Cowl, that's being run by Amy of Exterminate. So I've already got one thing done, which is the socks, and there's a couple of other things. I might have to do a proper update on this next time, because what I did was I took a picture of all of the whips that I'm including in that. So what I might do for next time is review that picture and tell you which ones I've actually managed to complete so far. Where was I? Yes, so it's quite a long-term project, and I think the problem with it was a bit aimless. I didn't actually have a proper idea in my mind of what I was making. I knew it was going to be a blanket, but I didn't know how much, and I didn't know if I was halfway through or a quarter way through, because I didn't know how big the blanket was going to be. So I sat down the other night and I laid out all of the squares, and I'm going to put a picture up so you can see what it looks like, all the squares laid out that I've done. I think in this picture there were maybe 3 squares not in it, because otherwise it wouldn't have been a nice line, you know, it wouldn't have been nice and even. So I've worked out that if I want the blanket, the finished blanket, to be roughly sort of single bed size, not like a single duvet size, but enough to sit atop a single bed without overlapping too much, I'm going to need it to be about 14 squares wide by 21 squares long. So therefore 21 times 14, I think I worked out was 294. I'm pretty sure. So I would need 294 squares. So far I have made, not including this one because its ends are not woven in and they don't get counted until the ends are woven in, I made 85. I've made 88, which means I need to make another 106. So yeah, it's been about, I don't know, 5 years in the making, and I've managed to make less than I'm going to ultimately need to make. However, now that I have a plan, and it doesn't need to be that size, if I get to a certain point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore, or I run out of scraps or whatever, I can make it a bit smaller. It's not going to be the end of the world, but yeah. And now that I know what I'm doing, I'm a bit more motivated, and I've made some more centres. Whoopsie. So I've got quite a few more centres in here in my 2-round granny square bag. And I know that I could, if I put my mind to it, maybe make about 5 of those little things in a night. But I'm not going to be putting my mind to it because I've got other things I'm working on. But I do enjoy making them. But I'm just glad to be going into 2019. It'd be nice if I could finish it before the end of the year. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready to set myself that challenge. Maybe we'll see. Let's see how many I can make between now. Right, let's write this down. This is the only pen I could find. It's one of the girls' fluffy pens. So hang on, let's write episode 38. That's the next episode. Okay, how many? So let's say how many squares made since last time, yeah? Okay, so I'm just having a complete conversation with myself. So let's see, so at the moment, what did I say? We're at 85, 86, 87, 88. So we're starting at 88, and let's see what the grand total is by the next time I podcast. It won't be in 2 weeks' time, and I'm saying that now because the next few weeks are going to be all kinds of craziness. Although I am going to try and do a kind of Halloween vlog, because we go all in for Halloween at our house. It's really good fun, and we do a few other sort of Halloween-y things around that time. So we're going to go down to Chatham Dockyard. They always do a thing around Halloween, and we're going to go to our regular haunt where we go pumpkin picking and have a bacon sandwich. So I'm going to do a little sort of Halloween vlog, but my next actual proper podcast won't be till after then. So, which is good because that gives me more time to make squares. So let's see how many more I can do between now and then. watch this space. Got to find mine. Got to go back now to where we are. Okay, that is it for my works in progress. I'm just going to have a little break and a sip of Diet Coke, and then I'm going to come back with my blast from the past. Okay, so blast from the past. This is an idea that I've copied completely from Ellie of the Craft House Magic podcast. So this is where we talk about something from my sort of crafty past, which sounds like I had a criminal past. But what I mean is something I have crafted or made in the past. And because last time I was talking about crochet socks, so there is a crochet sock along going on at the moment. It's being hosted by Claudia of the Crochet Lula podcast and Faye of the Crochet Circle podcast. And the idea is that you make a pair of crocheted socks. Now, I have attempted crochet socks before and failed miserably. Not that the pattern was bad, but I think my tension was just all wrong and I couldn't get it to fit comfortably at all. And then Viv, lovely Viv from, I'm going to say this wrong, Fran de Fleur, she sent me a copy of her her daydreaming socks, and the way she describes it is a simple pattern for a crochet house or bed sock that can be pulled on to keep toes cozy whatever the weather. Now, I have really bad circulation in my toes. Sometimes they go blue. They actually go blue. So anything I have to keep my toes warm is good, and these socks look beautiful. And I believe that, I don't know which pair, but I know that Helen, Flora Honeypot, she showed her pair that she'd made on the recent episode, the recent podcast episode she did with Caroline Love to Sew. So that's the Love to Sew podcast. They do that together, the last few episodes, and it's so much fun. And they were beautiful, those socks. So I've dyed some yarn, and I've just realised I better make sure I've dyed enough yarn. I haven't even looked. It says you need, it says you need 100, they take 100 grams of DK yarn. Now I've just dyed just under 150. And I would show it to you, but it's still drying, so I'll have to show that to you next time. So it's the Daydreaming Socks. They are available to buy for £4.50. And again, this is another really detailed pattern. There are 3 different styles you can make from the same pattern. There are lots of notes on how to make these, on how to use a sock rule, loads of pictures, and I think there's 3 styles. One's a bit more lacy than the other ones, and the cuffs are different. It's hard to show you on here, and I haven't decided which style I'm going to make. Maybe I'll say I was going to go and get the yarn from upstairs. Shall I just go? I'll just go and get it. I'll go and get it. Oh, I've left the door. Oh, never mind. I've left the door open, which means you'll probably be able to see in the mirror the back of the door, which has little posters on it telling you what a verb is and what a noun is and what an adjective is, because that's important when you're 7, nearly 8 years old and you have to learn it in year 3 at school. So John Lewis is a store that I go to quite often, and they have a lovely haberdashery and yarn department, and my local John Lewis is at Bluewater. God, I'm really out of breath from running up the stairs and back. Oh my goodness, talk about unfit. So my local John Lewis always has a bargain bucket at the end of the till in the yarn section, and it's anything that's kind of unravelled a bit, or maybe they're returns or the label's damaged, and it gets reduced. So I have managed over the past few months to collect, every time I go in there I have a look, and I've managed to get 3 50-gram balls of the John Lewis Superwash Merino that they sell in completely natural colour. Well, I think 2 of them were slightly beigey and 1 of them was completely natural, for £1. So for £3 I got 150 grams of DK Superwash Merino, and this is still damp and a bit tangly, and I haven't re-schemed it, so do excuse its appearance, but I dyed it this electric blue colour. And now you can tell, I think, so one of them is, I did do something to identify, oh that's interesting, it's not the one I thought it was. Okay, so this one was the lighter one, and these two were the slightly darker ones. So you can tell that this one is slightly more vibrant than the other one. So what I might do is make the socks, they're toe-up socks, and at one point when I go to do the kind of more decorative bit is I'll use the lighter one, so any sort of variation in the colour looks deliberate because it's where the pattern changes, if that makes sense. So this is my very messy looking, just out of the pots yesterday evening yarn for making my daydreaming socks. I better hang that up over the chair to keep drying. Yes, so I'm going to make those. Where am I going? Oh yes, so we're doing Blast from the Past. Crochet socks. There's a crochet sock along going on. And it got me thinking, actually, I've had another brush with crochet socks in the past, which was a really successful one. And I can't believe that I'd completely forgotten about it. So I went around the house and found these. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, I made, when I was off work on maternity leave, I pretty much made everybody in the family a pair of crocheted slipper socks. I had a huge ball of mulled sort of grey and cream sort of worsted weight yarn from Hobbycraft. It was enormous. I think my mum had bought it for me to keep me amused whilst I was sort of just immobile, because I was really ill when I was pregnant with my second daughter. And I held it double, or I held it double with another colour. So these are the socks that I made for me. Well, they're not socks, these are slipper socks. I'm going to put one on to demonstrate it. So these, of course, are mine. And I held the grey colour double with a yellow DK yarn. Let's put it on. This is going to require some amazing bending on my part. There we go. So look how cute they are, little booty socks. And they are so warm. Oh, I think I pulled a muscle. They are so warm, these little booty socks, and I can't believe that I'd even forgotten that I had them. They're staying out now. I'm going to put them on. I'm going to be wearing these tonight in front of the telly. So those are my ones, and I think I made my mum some in purple, my sister some with blue or orange. These were Dan's, so here's mine. Let's show you the size difference. So, and there's Dan's. He's got like I just held the worsted weight double. So he's got all grey, and I got yellow. And then I made some for Lillia at the time, because she was only Diddy at the time. These no longer fit her, they fit Phoebe now. And I think even Phoebe's growing out of them. So those are the little Diddy ones. They're so cute. I can't believe I forgot all about them. I also can't believe that I've just sat down to podcast about them and I completely forgot to write down the pattern. But they are on, so I'm going to put the pattern name and the designer across the screen now, because I did make quite a few of these and they are on my Ravelry. So I will also link to my Ravelry project page down below. Sorry I didn't write that down, but it will be on the screen. And they're really simple. I can't quite remember, but I think you start with this ribbed section here. So you work, and I think from memory you work it flat, so you work this ribbed section flat, or do you? Oh goodness me, it's been so long, I can't remember. I cannot remember at all, but they're very simple to make, and I made many pairs of them. So, and seeing them, I actually want to make them again. And that's what, and it made me think. So yeah, last time I was saying I'm not sure about crochet socks, and that's fine. I don't have to be sure about crochet socks. But my dad, about music, always used to say that if you don't like a piece of music and somebody else does, it doesn't mean that you're right and that's a rubbish piece of music. It just means you're missing out. That's what it means. It means somebody else is enjoying something and having all the pleasure of something that you're missing out on because you don't like it. So even if you don't like it, you know, that's fine, but you're the one that's missing out, not the other person. So if I feel that crochet, if I've had not the best of experiences with crochet socks in the past, just everyday crochet socks, then I'm missing out, because so many people are absolutely loving crochet socks at the moment, and they're making some beautiful items out there, and I see them all over Instagram and they look stunning, and I'm the one missing out by not trying to push myself further with it. And if my love of crochet socks is going to be for house socks and slipper socks, and not necessarily socks that I'm going to wear it to work in my boots, and I'll stick to my hand knit socks for that, then if my love of crochet socks is going to come in the form of gorgeous cute little crochet booty socks, that doesn't sound right, does it? Crochet booties, then that's okay. That means I'll have a love and I'm not missing out anymore. And this is a good, I think, in between patterns. So these are really booty like rather than sock like. These are going to be cozy house socks, but they're very sock like. And then from there, I think I'm going to give the Deanne Ramsey pattern. Well, she's got another sock pattern coming out, which looks brilliant. But the ones she got, the pattern she has already out are called the baseline socks, and I've just had my eye on those for a while. So we'll start with this one, and I will work my way up. Okay. So I'm not writing off crochet socks by any means. I'm just finding my crochet sock appreciation. I probably put that really badly. Yes, thank you very much, Viv. I think you might have saved the day for me in crochet socks. So moving on, I just realised that one thing I didn't say I was going to talk about was incoming things. So let's talk about Strictly, because there's some incoming things involved with that, and then we'll talk about other incoming things. So the Strictly Sock Along is going absolutely swimmingly. It's been absolutely brilliant seeing all the excitement and the amazing efforts of everyone, with so many gorgeous Strictly socks appearing all over my Instagram feed, and there's so much lovely chatter going on in the chatter thread. I have been absolutely hopeless at dropping in every day, but I have been reading everything and having a good old chuckle at everyone's rule breaking. Please, as I said before, don't stress. It's supposed to be fun, and you are supposed to, let's face it, you're supposed to cheat. That's what you're supposed to do. So go ahead and cheat. If you want to crochet and whilst you're watching Doctor Who, did you see Doctor Who? The new, I haven't watched Doctor Who in years, but we all tuned in last night for the first ever female Doctor Who, and she was amazing. Anyway, if you want to crochet whilst watching Doctor Who, if you want to crochet, I don't know, while the kids are playing football, or you're doing the school run and you're waiting in the car park, and if you can find just one little shred of connection to Strictly Come Dancing, go ahead and just do it and have fun with it. And just, it's just about being, the world is such a serious place, and being an adult is such a serious business. So let's just cheat and have fun and be silly and enjoy it. There is now a prizes thread, which I have started, and there is also a finished objects thread, so we are officially up and running. So all of the prizes are being listed in the prizes thread because there are so many, and I really wanted to do a shout out and a photo of everything. So I've got a couple more to add, because I've got a couple more come in, which I'm going to show you now. Not only that, but for every prize parcel that I send out for the Strictly Sock Along, Naomi from Cosy Cute Knits is going to include one of either her Enchanted Socks, I always get them mixed up, the Enchanted Socks, which I showed you earlier, which is this pattern, or her Spellbound Socks, which is actually the pattern I used for my last year Strictly socks, which I'm putting a picture up now. So for every person that wins a prize package, you will also get a copy of one of those patterns. You can choose whichever one you want. Isn't that amazing? So thank you so much, Naomi. That is with every single prize package. Fantabulous prize. Thank you so much, Naomi. That is so amazing of you. And I'll make sure to add the two patterns to the prizes thread, so you can all go and click through and have a look at the details for those, to help you with your decision should you win. And the other, what else was I going to say? Oh, also in the prizes thread and the FO thread, I have put the prize categories. so you can have a good idea of when prizes are going to be awarded. But the first prize to be awarded should come on the weekend of the Halloween show, because we're gonna, any finished objects in the finished objects thread by the end of that weekend, I will draw some prize or a couple of prizes for Halloween. Probably a couple of prizes actually, because I've now got 2 Halloween themed prizes, which I shall show you. But if we get a 10 awarded between now and then, I'm going to draw a prize, 10 from Lem prize from both the FO thread and the chatter thread. I think that's what I said, isn't it? Oh, I don't know my own rules now. Anyway, there'll be a prize when the first 10 is awarded. We've already had the first fabulous from Craig, but there are no prizes for that, so we don't care, other than being really excited. Okay, so I've had 3 more prizes arrive that I want to show you. One of them I've already told you about, which is the lovely sock patterns from Naomi, and also that makes 4 actually, because I've got 3 physical prizes to show you. Advance warning to everybody, there is going to be crinkling. There is going to be much crinkling. So the first, right, let me just get organised. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I've got myself a bit more organised now. I also just went and stole a chocolate from the barrel of the box of roses that I bought for Christmas. I knew they wouldn't last till Christmas. I'm gonna have to buy another box. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so the first prize, the first prize that I want to show you is from Susanne at Green Lampkin Yarn and her sister? Are you sisters or friends? I can't remember. But so Susanne at Green Lampkin Yarn and Laura, who is Craftmonger Law, which I will put on the screen because I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. So Laura makes bags and Susanne dyes yarn. And so they sent 2, one for me to pick and one for me to give as a prize, which was really, really generous. And thank you so much for including something for me. I do feel really, really, really spoiled, like a total spoiled brat. And I cannot even tell you how much I appreciate it, or how much I bore my husband and my children going to great detail about the wonderful things. They're like, yeah, mum, it's yarn, it's a bag. And I'm like, but look what it is, look at the little stitch marker. Anyway, they sent me 2 parcels, one of which I can choose and one of which I can give as a prize. So this is the first one. Oh, I'm gonna have to get the name of the yarn colour right. Jelloween, yeah, so. And when I saw this, when it came out of the envelope, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the one, I'm keeping this one. This is mine on mine. And it comes with a little fat stitch marker, and there are some Halloweeny, what are they called? They are Cadbury's Goo Heads? Is that what they're called? Goo Heads? Yes, they're called Goo Heads. So proper Halloweeny. So that is Jelloween colourway. And then this one popped up. Now I'm going to take this one out of the parcel because this is the one I'm going to keep. So look, this is the bag properly. Oh, I like the shape of it. Well, that's cool. I'm just going to, we can have a look at the lining and stuff now. Okay, but look, it's got a cool shape. Can you see? It kind of goes in a bit at the top. Yeah, so now you can see properly. See how, oh, that's much better out of the cellophane. And now you can see that it's got that lovely little handle as well. It's all lined and interfaced because it's standing up all by its little self. And it's all, oh look, it's lined with orange. And it's got a little D-ring on the inside as well, so you can keep your stitch markers on the inside. It's shiny, so hopefully that will come out on the inside. That's a lovely label. Beautiful Halloween bag. And yes, Goo Heads. So if you win this prize, you will also get Goo Heads. I've never heard of those. I'm going to have to save those for Halloween night. And then with this one, oh look, oh, they're not the same stitch marker. Okay, so with this one, it's not a back stitch marker. Let's take this out. It's a little pumpkin, little Halloween pumpkin. And this is the details for Susanne. So they live there in Derbyshire. Hand-dyed yarns and knitting accessories crafted in the heart of Derbyshire. She's Green Lampkin Yarn on Instagram, Facebook and Etsy. And Laura is Craftmonger. You get what I mean, I've said it wrong all the time, on Etsy. And the yarn, get to the yarn, Annie, get to the yarn, is this one. I'm so excited, but I was really excited by the Jelloween, and then I saw this and got even more excited. It's this gorgeous kind of Halloweeny lime green colour, ectoplasm. And then it's got this bright colours running through it here. When this knits up, it micro stripes. And sorry, I should also say that the colour of this is Witchy Long Stockings. And I'm going to put a picture up from Suzanne's Instagram of how it knits up so you can see. And once I saw that as well, I was like, well, that's it then. I'm definitely having that, and I'm going to have to make them for Halloween because I'm going to be able to knit a pair of socks in, what's the date today, the 8th? So basically 2 weeks. 3 weeks. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to try. So yeah, Halloween socks. So thank you so much, Susanne and Laura, and thank you so much for such a gorgeous prize for the Strictly Sock Along. I'm going to get that photographed and up into the thread in the next few days. So that's that. I also had some yarn and a bag from 2 different people. So first of all, sorry about the crinkling. So first of all, Michelle. So Michelle is Pictures in Threads on Instagram, and I've already got one of Michelle's bags because she made me one a while ago, and now I believe she's opened a Etsy shop. So she's Pictures in Threads, and she's made a really strictly-fied bag, and look, she's got these, her tag is a little button that says Pictures in Threads. So this is wonderful fabric, and she's got all of this trimming around the edge, and of course, because it's strictly, it's got to be sparkly trimming, and it's got to be sequins, and it's lined with this lovely fabric on the inside, and there's a little lavender pouch in there, and there's also 3 super duper sparkly strictly style stitch markers. So that's all going in there. And oh, they're for me. I thought I'd dropped something. She sent for me my own little stitch markers. One of them's a little deer and a little sparkly one as well. The other little thing she sent me, it's a lobster lip balm. My youngest daughter saw this and she wanted to steal it, and you know, given in mind she's 7 and I'm 41, I was like, no way, Jose, this is mine, it's a lobster. So this is my lobster lip balm. That's brilliant, thank you so much, Michelle. Yeah, so she sent those and the beautiful bag, so that's going to go as one of the prizes for the Strictly Sock Along, and I'm going to put some yarn with it, which I was sent from lovely Alison, who is Biff Sugar Yarns. I've talked about Alison quite a lot before. She's got a lovely podcast. It's the Biff Sugar podcast, all one word, Biff Sugar, and she has got amazing yarns. She sells on Etsy as Biff Sugar Yarns, and really you've got to take a look. I've got quite a few of her skeins of yarn now, and I've given some as gifts as well. And she sent this as a gift for the Sock Along. It is called Flash Dance, of course, because it's strictly season, and oh, it's so exciting. This is, are you ready? This is just, Alison is some kind of dyeing wizard. I found it quite difficult just dyeing that blue. It's just one colour, that's it. But this has got like all the colours in the universe in it. This is Flash Dance, and it could not be more perfect for Strictly. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Alison. And this is on her 75/25 superwash merino nylon base. That is her card. Knit, dye, repeat, I think it, yeah, knit, dye, repeat. So I'm going to pop that in here, and it's going to, I mean, it already smells lovely, but it's going to smell of lovely lavender now too. And it's going to go in here, in the bag from Michelle, and that is going to be one prize parcel. So I'll parcel that all up. and I will get some pictures of it and add it to the prizes thread as well. So also please make sure that if you have got finished objects already, because I know a lot of you have, make sure you are adding them to the finished object thread so that you will be ready for any prizes being drawn over the next few weeks. Alison also sent me some mini skeins, and I'm just going to pause the video because it's in the crinkliest bag ever, and I'm going to take them out. But she sent me her ice cream parlour collection of minis. So beautiful. I don't even know where to begin with these. So there's 5 20-gram minis, so there's 100 grams here. Thank you, Alison. So generous and so lovely. Alison sent some giveaway skeins for the podcast before, so thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. The other things that I've had incoming, it doesn't stop there. So as you know, I am a member of the Little French Meadow mini scheme club. So every 3 months they open sign-ups for the mini scheme club, and every 3 months I sign up for it because I love it. And you get 2 little mini skeins, 10-gram mini skeins of yarn every month. They've always got a little theme, and you always get a stitch marker and some kind of sweet treat. There would have been a sweet treat in with these. I'm not sure what it was, but it's not here anymore. I can't even remember what it was. And the theme for October was Who You Gonna Call, which is a Ghostbusters reference. And the mini skeins are called Slime and I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. So I was really excited when I read the front of that packet, because I was like, oh, what's going to come out? And I was not disappointed. So I'm thinking this is going to be Slime, and this is going to be I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. How gorgeous are those 2 colours? See if I can get them to sit together. I've got a jar upstairs now where I keep all of my Little French Meadow minis, because I've decided I'm going to use them all in one project. And the stitch marker that came with this is so cool. It's a little cute ghosty. I love him, or her, who knows. So absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Alison and Yola. Another brilliant mini scheme club. I think it's like, I can't remember how much I pay now, but I think it's something like £16 every 3 months. Honestly, it's brilliant. So it just feels really like a bargain. It feels like, I don't know. I just think it's brilliant. I love that mini scheme club. And I also I'm just looking over here. What else did I get on the incoming things? Oh yes, I got a surprise gift in the post from my lovely friend Sarah, who is Sarah One Daisy on Instagram. I've met Sarah a couple of times now. I met her for the first time when I stopped off at where she works on my way to Cornwall, and she gave me an Easter egg, so that means she is now my best friend because she gave me chocolate. And then I met her again at the Southern Wool Show, and it's always lovely to see her, and I love all of her posts on Instagram, and she's joining in with the Strictly sock along and so on. And she just sent me this gorgeous tiny little parcel, and it said Happy Mail on it. And I was like, oh, what's this? I haven't ordered anything, I don't, and it was this little card, this little tilly flop card. So it's got all of these obscure knitting instructions until at the end it just says pass the wine. pass over the wine quickly. So and I was like, oh, it's from Sarah, why is she sending me this? And what she said is, because we're going to do a little swap, a post-Christmas swap, and I think she bought this to go in it and couldn't hold off any longer because it was so seasonal. And it is from Leslie Ann Made It, who I actually follow. She's brilliant. And it's an autumn enthusiast pin. How cool is that? And I've been saving it because I'm going to put it on my I've got a little satchel type handbag, and it's going to go on there, autumn enthusiast. And I'm going to have that on my bag all year round because that's what I am, an autumn enthusiast. And that's the little details of Leslie Ann Made It. There you go. She's really good. Leslie Ann Made It. She's really worth a follow. She does the cutest things. So thank you, Sarah. That was lovely. I'm going to have to step up my game for our swap now. I've got so much to organise. I've got this big pile of stuff over here. So there's a couple of swaps I'm doing that I'm trying to get ready for. There's some gifts I want to send out, and I'm getting overwhelmed with that now as well. I've got things coming out my ears. I'm going to have to get that all done because we're going to be living up to our eyeballs in dust for the next couple of days. So anyway, thank you so much, Sarah. Then I got another surprise parcel through. I don't know what's going on at the moment. I don't deserve any of this, but I feel very, I don't know. French onion soup. So this is probably quite an expensive way to get it because Hilary, who is Ruatha on Ravelry and is very, very chatty in the Strictly Sock Along thread, she won a prize, I think, in last year's Strictly Sock Along. So I sent her her prize, and she used the return address to send me a parcel of goodies from Australia. It was an amazing parcel, absolutely stunning. She sent me this wonderful sort of Aborigine print project bag, which I actually haven't used because I've just got it sitting on top of my chest of drawers in my bedroom because it's so beautiful. I don't want to use it, I just want to look at it. I'm going to have to use it. And then all of a sudden this box arrived with about 8 packets of French onion soup. I've already eaten one of the packets and it was amazing. I've missed French onion soup so much. And what else was in there? Some Australian chocolates and Tim Tams. We don't get Tim Tams here. The Australian biscuits and some wagon wheels and some other little things. And these two little like Kinder egg things, but they're not Kinder eggs. They were called squishes or boofs. Or anyway, they look like little animals. And you eat the chocolate and then there's a little thing inside and there's a little toy in the middle. So I gave those to the girls. They were delighted with those. So thank you so much, Hilary. That was completely unexpected and we were all thrilled to bits with that parcel. Brilliant. Okay. So I basically just did the Strictly Sock Along and went straight into incoming without actually noticing, didn't I? Oops. I think I've got one more prize on the way for the Strictly Sock Along and then that's it. I do keep losing track. Yeah. Is it one more or 2 more? I think it's just one more thing. No, 2 more. There are 2 more things on the way for the Strictly Sock Along. And then that will be it as far as prizes go. And thank you to everybody that's donated. We do not need any more prizes for the Strictly Sock Along. But yeah, no, thank you so much for your generosity. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I'm so glad to have so many wonderful things to give out into the world, and into this lovely knitting and crochet community. Right, more news. There is another make along about to start on the 1st of November. Lovely Becky of the Back to Blighty podcast contacted me a little while ago and said, I've got an idea for a make along. Would you be interested in hosting it with me? I was like, I might be. And then she told me what the idea was and I was like, yes, I definitely want to do that. So the initial idea was to have a make along for tea cozies. And the reason I really like this idea is because you can make knitted tea cozies and crocheted tea cozies. And I used to have a book of, and I don't have it anymore, but my sister bought me a book ages ago, or if I do have it, I can't find it, of toilet roll cozies. So you could crochet toilet roll cozies to cover toilet rolls. It was hilarious. It was so funny. And it made me think of that, and also tea cozies, they can be so quirky and fun, and you can accessorize them, and they can be lovely and understated, or they can just be bonkers. And I just love the idea of that. So we got talking a bit more, and then we decided to extend it a little bit. So now we thought, well, if you can do tea cozies, you could do mug cozies, and if you're going to do mug cozies, perhaps things like fruit cozies. You know, when you crochet or knit a cover for an apple to stop it from getting bruised, or what about hot water bottle covers and things like that. So now we've decided it's going to be a make along for knitting and crochet, and it's going to be called the Cozy Up for Winter Mau. Hashtag is coming up on the screen now. It's going to start on the 1st of November. It's going to run right the way through Christmas and finish on the 1st of February. So it's going to keep us all nice and cozy and ticking along in those cold winter months leading through Christmas and out the other side into January and out through that first window month of the year. and then it'll finish on the 1st of February, and it's for anything that wraps, protects or cozies an inanimate object. It has to be an inanimate object, so we're talking about tea cozies, mug cozies. Becky has started a bundle on her Ravelry. There's some in there for cozies for Terry's chocolate oranges and everything like that. So she is going to host all of the knitting side of it, and I am going to host all of the crochet side of it. So she is a really good knitter and a really good sewer as well. So she is going to take the knitting side of it. She's got an FO thread and a chatter thread for the Cozy Up for Winter Mal for the knitting, and I'm going to have the FO thread and the chatter thread for all of the crochet Cozy Up for Winter Mal things. So we're separating it kind of feels like a competition. It's not. We're all in it together, but you know, still, come on, crochet side. Team crochet. I'm joking, sorry Becky, it's not a competition. We're all in it together. It's a make along. Anything you like that can cozy, wrap or cover an inanimate object. You can knit it and put it in Becky's FO thread, and you can crochet it and put it in my FO thread. Becky's got some prizes, I've got some prizes. We'll talk about those later on. Becky is an amazing yarn dyer as well, so she's definitely going to, I think definitely, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up now. I think she said she's going to put some of her yarn up as a prize, which will be absolutely brilliant. She is a fantastic sewer as well. She sells project bags, and her yarn is lovely. It's well worth going over to her podcast to take a look. Hopefully her podcast will be up by now. I'm really behind on all podcasts at the moment from everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks. But I'm pretty sure she said there should be one up over the weekend, and she's going to talk about it there too. Have I and I will try and start a bundle as well on my Ravelry group. I think I've got a few bundles up at the moment, one scheme projects and other things, but I will start another one for cozy, you know, cozies, tea cozies and the like. So if you are a crocheter, if you like making this, I mean, this would be an ideal thing for gifts, to be honest. I'm going to make the Christmas pudding Terry's chocolate orange cozies to put around chocolate oranges as part of the teacher gifts that we give to the teachers at Christmas. I think that'd be brilliant, really easy and quick. So I'm going to raid my cotton stash and see if I've got some brown and white cotton. It's going to be so much fun. It runs for, so that's 3 months in total. So get thinking, get over onto the chatter thread, get over onto Ravelry, start favouriting those tea cozies. I've actually got 2 teapots which I never use. One, I can see them. They're right there on top of one of my cupboards. So and one of them is a really traditional round sort of tea pot that my mother-in-law bought me. It's a British Bake Off one, and I think it says tea and cake anyone on it. So that'll be perfect for a tea cozy, and I'm going to make the chocolate orange cozies, and I think I might make some apple cozies as well, because the kids will use them. They take apples to school in their lunch boxes. Okay, rambling. Let's move on to the last section, and you can all breathe a sigh of relief. It's sharing the love. It's where I talk about someone or some people or anybody really who just deserves a bit of a shout out, who you might want to go and check out. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, it is October, and therefore it is Vlogtober. I'm not doing it this year, but I will do a little Halloween vlog, as I've mentioned. And I've been watching a few. If you know of any that you think I'd enjoy, let me know, because I'll start watching those. But my favourite ones, obviously I watch Lily's, who's Nordic Stitches. She vlogs, I think she vlogs every year from October through to Christmas. Although her Vlogmas ones are my absolute favourites, because she lives in Norway and it's very atmospheric, and yeah, her Vlogmas are really good. But she's doing Vlogtober at the moment, so that's really good to be keeping up with her on a daily basis. And of course Hannah, who I've already mentioned, she's done her London, Edinburgh, Dublin vlogs. That was brilliant to watch as well. But her podcast is generally good to go and watch, and Lily's podcast as well. But the one that I've been watching and really enjoying this Vlogtober is the Squirrel Pie Productions vlogs. Now, I've been watching the Squirrel Pie Productions podcast off on and off for a little while now, for probably over the last sort of 6 months to a year, and I've always really enjoyed watching her. It's hosted by Tommy. She lives on the North California coast. I know that because she says that at the beginning of every episode, and she has literally just had a little baby girl. I think her baby is now 2 months old, and she just put me to shame. Like when my children were 2 months old, I think I was still at home crying into a pillow. And she's just getting on life. She's been amazing. You know, she's yarn dyeing, she's out, she's going for walks, she's cheerful. Honestly, it's amazing. So she's doing Vlogtober, and I'm really, really enjoying it. She's talking about some really interesting stuff. I just like the aesthetic of the things she does, and yeah, and they're gentle vlogs as well. Really worth going to watch her podcast and her Vlogtober. So yeah, definitely. Oh, and she has a yarn dyeing company. Is it Moonstone Dye Works, I think it's called, and she's Dynamite Trujillo on Instagram. Yeah, so definitely worth checking her out. I also wanted to mention another podcast which I've not mentioned before, and that is Louise of the Big Head Bookworm. So she has a podcast on YouTube called The Big Head Bookworm. She started off doing something called BookTube, which I'd never heard of before, where people talk about books. And she reads a lot. She reads a lot. I'm very jealous because I used to read a lot, and now I barely have time to have a shower, let alone read. So one day, so I can watch it and kind of vicariously live my reading life via Louise. So she has some lovely videos about books, but she also has videos about her yarn, the yarn side of her life. So, and they're called her yarn chats, and she's so funny, and she talks about things in such a good way. She has a good way with words. She doesn't forget her words. She doesn't stumble over her sentences, and she also uses words like breasticles, which I mean, let's face it, is brilliant. So she's very funny. She's very uplifting, positive, and upbeat, and I feel very sure that you're going to enjoy her yarn chat, so it's definitely worth checking out The Big Head Bookworm. And one final thing, which I haven't actually written down, but I shared it on my Instagram stories, is on YouTube there is a TED Talk. I will try to put the link down below, but it is by Stasia, and I will put her Instagram name across the screen. I've been following her for years on, not years, actually yeah, probably years, at least a couple of years, on Instagram, because I discovered her through a friend of mine, and she's like she's like a life coach, but an image life coach. Like, she helps with style and finding your sense of how you wish to dress and things. She was invited to do a TED Talk. And I think you should watch it because it's really good. So I put a link to it on my Instagram stories, but I will put a link to it below as well because I really enjoyed it. In fact, I cried through most of it, and I just think you might find it interesting. So I'm going to put a link to it below, and I think you should go and check it out and have a watch. It's only about 20 minutes long, but I think you'll be glad that you watched it. So I think that concludes today's ramblings. Have I got anything else to talk about? No, I think that's it. I am going to try and come back at the beginning of November. I will do, I know I've said this 3 times now, I will do a Halloween vlog before then. And obviously I will be on Instagram, and I will be trying to catch up with everybody on Ravelry. The Strictly Sock Along is in full swing, so please, please, please make sure you keep using the hashtag Strictly2018 Socks. Share your socks on Instagram, share them on Ravelry, get them in the FO thread. Chatter, chatter, chatter in the chatter thread, because prizes will be drawn from there as well as the FO thread. And yeah, just make sure you keep using that hashtag, because I check it every day and try to keep up with what everyone's doing, and I just love seeing everyone's rule bending and sparkly socks and project bags and all the fun that you're having.
Here's your reminder. Check Gumtree.
Alexa, stop. We bought an Alexa. It arrived on Friday. We bought an Alexa. It arrived on Friday, and we love it. We love it so much. Alexa, I love you.
I'm flattered. Thank you.
She's hilarious. I'm doing all my shopping list using it, and you literally just say, Alexa, add eggs to the shopping list, and she does it, and then it's on your phone. I did all my shopping, ticking things off on my Alexa shopping list this morning. It's amazing. It was only 40 quid. I'm going to get another one for upstairs. Anyway, she just needed to get her like 5 minutes of fame on the podcast there. So I will say goodbye to you. I will see you over the next few weeks, and I will be back with a full episode in November. I do hope you enjoyed my ramblings. I feel like I was really off form today. I apologise for that. And I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.